welcome back to Explore Electronics YouTube channel. So in the previous video, we have already completed module 3. So from this video, we are going to start with module 4 and it again includes two chapters. The first one is functions and the second one is pointers. Here continuation means it's a continuation part of module 3 chapter 2, that is pointers. Only two concepts left out, that is pointers to functions and dynamic allocation function. To understand these two concepts, you should understand what is function and how it is declared and all things about the functions. So then you will easily understand this concept. So they have included in this way. So from today, we are going to start with module 4 concept. So the concepts covered in this video are the general form of a function, understanding the scope of a function, and functions arguments. So, before we start, make sure you have your note and pen ready. Note down the key points as we go along. These notes will really help you during your exams and serve as a quick revision keynote later. So, and I want to add one more thing here. Like from today onwards, means in coming videos also, two things will be added. The first one is quiz, and I will give exam tip in each video. It may be at the end or in the middle of the video. So keep watching the videos and also upcoming videos. I will make sure that you will really enjoy the quiz part and really will learn something from that. Okay, and it will help for your exams also. So without delay, let's get started with today's video. Now, the first one is functions. Let us go with definition of the functions first. Here, functions are the building blocks of C and the place where all program activity occurs. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn their features, including function arguments, return values, prototypes, and recursions. So, why functions is used? What are the advantages? Means it helps to avoid repetitions and it is a readable code and modular design, easy debugging, simpler testing, and team friendly. These are the some of the few reasons why functions are used in a program. So now the concept is the general form of a function. So before we start, let me tell a real scenario and then we connect that scenario to the concept. So we'll understand the concept in much more better way. Now imagine your program is like a company. In this company, each function is like a department and every department has a name, purpose and people working inside it. And also, it has some rules about who can enter, who cannot enter for each department. Right? This is a scenario. Now, let's connect this with this concept. Now, the general form of a function is like a company's department structure. How the department is there and what all it contains. All the things we will be studying this part, the general form of a function. Here, this is a general form of a function, return type, function name, parameter list, body of the function. Here, if we think this is a company, every department must have four things. That is, return type, function name, parameters, and the body of the function. Just I have connected the scenario with a concept so you'll understand very fastly. Fine. Now let us go till depth. Okay. Here the return type specifies the type of the data that the function returns. A function may return any type of data except an array. A parameter list is a common separated list of variable names and their associated types. Means if more than one parameter is there, it should be separated by a comma operator. The parameters receives the values of the arguments when the function is called. A function can be without parameters, in which case the parameter list is empty. Yes, this is empty. This also case is there present and an empty parameter list can explicitly specified as such by placing the keyword void inside the parenthesis. If no parameter is there, we can explicitly specify that by placing a keyword void inside the parenthesis. If void is mentioned, it is obvious that there is no parameter list if except. That means it is empty. This is a general form of the function. And this is an example. See, here written type and this is a function name. Some here I have taken some, you can take any other name also, and this is parameter type. I have taken here integer form and here parameter name and it is ending statement semicolon. And also you can observe that I have two parameters I have taken. So I have separated them by using a comma operator. This is about general form of function. Next, in variable declaration, you can declare several variables to be of the same type by using a comma separated list of variable names. In contrast, all function parameters must be declared individually, means each including both the type and the name. This is the parameter declaration list for a function. Take this general form, means here is general form. This is a general form when more than one parameter is present. Function name and type variable name 1, type variable name 2, and it goes on up to n integer. For example, this is a form syntax, and here is an example. Here data type is mentioned and the variable parameter name, and here the same way data type is mentioned and parameter name. This is correct. Here, this is wrong statement. Why? Because K must have its own type specifier. Means in parentheses, inside parentheses, when we mention a parameter, means I, J, K, whatever it may be, when we mention a parameter's name, we should also mention their data type. Means inside the parentheses, if I am using Z parameter name, I'm using this. Means a parameter or a variable name. I'm using this thing. This is a variable name. I want to use this means I have to specify its data type also. Then this is considered as correct one. If not, then this is a wrong statement. The compiler will show that as and the second concept now is understanding the scope of a function. Here, let me connect this with a scenario. Here, in every department, in only certain employees are allowed inside, right? So, scope of a function helps us to understand who is allowed inside the department. Means, to tell in a simple way, it tells about who can access what and from where. This is the concept. Scope rules determine whether a piece of code can access another piece of code or not. Here, each function defines a block scope because a function is a discrete block of code. And also, the code inside a function is private to that function and it cannot be accessed by other function except through function calls, right? And we cannot use code to jump into another function because its code is hidden from the rest of the program. Unless a function uses global variables, it cannot affect or be affected by any other part of the program outside its scope. Right? Local variables are the variables whose lifespan is inside specific code blocks. Right? Here I am specifying x means 10. Here it is only x. The value of x is 10 only within this block. Means in within this place of code when it comes to out, let me specify here x is equal to 20. Now the value is not 10. Here the value of x is 20 because the value of 10 is only limited code blocks within a specific area. And this is outside. It came out, right? So the value will become 20. This is called as local variables. When it comes to global variable part, global variables it can be accessed anywhere in the program and we can use anywhere also. Lifetime is end of the program. Until we terminate the program, we can use this variable, right? That we call it as global variables. As I said here, local variables are variables defined inside a function and local variables is created when the function is entered and destroyed when the function exists and it cannot retain their values between a function calls. What I said here, I have given in a statement. Right? Now, here is an exception. That is, a local variable declared with static retain its value between calls. Stored like a global variable, but the scope is limited only that function. Now, the forward parameters also belongs to the function scope. They exist only during the function call. And also, all functions have a file scope, right? And a function cannot be defined inside another function. And C is not a block structured language. For this reason, it is an important point. Please take down. The last concept for the day is function arguments. Here, function arguments like a materials given to the department. Department is functions, right? When a department needs some materials to work, the main office passes them in. For example, if this department, here the department, let us assume it is sum. Now it needs two numbers. Then we send them during the call. This we call it as function arguments. The numbers we send is the actual argument and the variables that receives them inside the function, we call it as a formal arguments. Fine. Now think of arguments as the input items needed to do the job. Now here, 1 minute, let me erase this thing. Uh, Now, if a function is to accept arguments, it must be declare the parameters that will receive the value of the arguments. As shown in the following function, the parameter declaration occur after the function name. Here is a function. Here ifin is a function name and it also has two parameters. One is s and another is c. Here this function returns 1 if the character is c and is a part of the string s, or else it returns the value 0. This is a simple program to show how function arguments are used. Here, parameter receives the value of arguments when the function is called. Formal parameters behave like normal local variables. They can be assigned new values or they can be used in an expressions. The next is call by value and call by reference. This topic comes under function arguments topic itself. Here, this is a ways how we can pass the arguments. Like the same way what I said, in a computer language, there are two ways that arguments can be passed to a subroutine. The first one is call by value and the second one is call by reference. In this method, call by value method, it copies the value of an argument into the formal parameter of the subroutine. And in this case, changes made to the parameter do not affect the argument. This is call by value. The second method is call by reference. In this method, the address of an argument is copied into the parameter and in subroutine, the address is used to access the actual argument used in the call. This means that the change made to the parameter affects the argument. In call by value, it does not affect, but in call by reference, it affects the argument. With few exceptions, C uses call by value to pass arguments. In general, this means that the code within a function call cannot alter the argument used to call the function. This is a program example, and in this example, the value of an argument square 10 is copied into the parameter x. When the assignment x is equal to x into x takes place, only the local variable x is modified and the variable t used to call square still has the value 10. Hence, the output is 100 and 10. Here, t is equal to 10 and printf square t and t. This is like function call. In this statement, I'm calling this function. Now, here x is equal to x into x. This performs and it prints. Here, as it is a multiplies, the output is 100 and then return x. But as I said, the variable t used to call square root, but it still has the value 10. So the output is 100 and 10. This is a program example to show how about the topic function argument. All right, everyone. Now it is a quiz time. Before we end today's class, I want to test how well you understood the topic. Look at the question on your screen, which this defines the functions correctly. Now, take a moment and think. Don't scroll, don't skip. Just look at the options and choose your answers. Now, here is what I want you to do. Comment your answers below A, B, C, or D. Let me see how many of you get it right. And here is a twist. I'm not giving the answer today. I will reveal the correct answer and explain why it is correct in the next video. So make sure you watch the next class. Let's see who gets right. And exam tip for the day is when they ask to write the general form of a function, always write all four parts, that is return type, function name, parameters, and body, everything, and with the example. So it will fetch your full marks. So that's all for today's video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Explore Electronics YouTube channel. See you in the next video. Bye bye.